on the treatment, I think then I would hope that that doctor would have the curiosity to actually find out more about it, you know. And but more and more doctors are now. So when in 2016, when I started off, apart from Professor Bikula, I didn't know any other doctors in the UK. There were some probably, but I just didn't know of them. And then, but now, you know, I know of several cardiologists who talk about mast cell activation syndrome and recognize it in their patients, several gastroenterologists who see it in their patients. And so there's more and more of us who are helping these people, which is great. Yeah, so that's sort of background, really. And then, of course, long COVID came along.
Oh, yeah, I want to go on to long COVID, but you've tweaked my curiosity on the histamine. I mean, histamine's basically a fairly simple chemical. I mean, are people intolerant to histamine?
Yeah, that's what other people in class are looking at, the histamine. That's interesting. Yeah, so it's showing someone in class is highlighting histamine foods. Examples: wine, beer, champagne, alcohol, processed meat, cheeses, sauerkraut. Interesting, sauerkraut is high in histamine. Vegetables: tomato, eggplant, spinach, tropical fruit, pineapple, bananas, papaya, citrus, fish, especially mackerel, tuna, sardines, herring, and shellfish. Strawberries, that makes sense. Which foods, so antihistamine foods would include vitamin C, spinach, citrus, kiwi, strawberries, tomatoes. Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we had a few requests, just random readings for class. I'm gonna do that. Hold on. The Manual of Neo-Scholastic Philosophy. One of my favorites. I'll try the best I can, get my reading voice on. The State. Ethics. Perfect. 302. Whenever various families live together in the same territory, certain interrelations based upon mutual dependence will follow. Now it is a common evil or danger that threatens. Now it is a common good or advantage that is to be achieved. In each case, it is a common necessity which calls for social action. Add some light here. Such is the origin of the wider social organization which we call state. By this term, we wish to express its character of social completeness. The perfect state recognizes no higher political authority. It is sovereign or supreme in its own sphere. Historically, the origin of statehood is not quite clear. The first form of state life was probably patriarchal. The stock family from which the others are descended would naturally exercise a predominating influence over them, and the traditional authority would pass on from the head of that family to the eldest son. However, even in very primitive conditions of social life, we find that the chieftains of tribes and clans are elected. This fact is easily accounted for by the necessity of extraordinary circumstances. If a crisis arises and the actual head of the principal family is not capable of dealing with it, a man will be chosen who is better qualified, either by the wisdom of his counsel or by his prowess in warfare. These few remarks are sufficient to show that the form of government is not of decisive importance in a state. It is entirely a matter of expediency. A form of government that would be very good for one people might be very bad for another on account of their racial or cultural differences. For the same reason, even for the same people, the form of government which would be excellent at one stage of its national life might be disastrous at another. Generally speaking, that form of government is best which responds best to the character and needs of a people, whether it be republican or monarchical, democratic or aristocratic, socialist or despotic. The purpose of government is to govern, and if it governs economically and efficiently, prompting the common good without infringing more than necessary on the rights of the individuals, such a government is ideal, no matter what its form. Against such a government, people will never revolt. Much has been said of late about the necessity of the consent of the governed for the legitimacy of a government. This claim is perfectly justifiable in theory. All men are equal in dignity and rights by nature, and therefore, in the presence of God, no human authority can lawfully exercise its power of social direction, whose right to govern is not known to and recognized by the people. However, in practice, this principle is not of easy application. Who will determine in a particular case how many and of what kind of members of the social body are necessary to represent the constant of the people? Evidently, purely numerical majority would be an insufficient criterion. Perhaps we might suggest the majority of the people who are politically educated and mean to exercise their political rights and duties. Hence, a sudden and radical change in government is seldom advisable. It can produce good results only in extreme cases, when society finds itself in the condition of a man desperately ill, and the only alternative is either a possible chance by a capital operation or sure death. Since the object of the state is the good of the people that form the state, the rights and duties of the government must be determined by that object. Whatsoever action is necessary for the common good, the authority of the state must command, and whatsoever action is seriously detrimental to the common good, the government must forbid and prevent as much as possible. However, there are a few significant exceptions to this principle. 1. The state can never command or authorize an action contrary to the natural law, for the simple reason that the state, no more than the individual, is not autonomous, but subject to God and to the will of God, has clearly expressed in the natural order of the universe. 2. The state must never interfere with the essential rights of individuals or families, except to safeguard and protect them from infringement, because these rights are anterior and superior to those of the state. The state exists for the family and for the individual, but the individual and the family do not exist for the state. 3. The state must not interfere with the rights of the people except when necessary, and then not more than necessary. There is nothing more precarious and subversive of the common good than a meddlesome government which seeks to regulate everything, even the things of most intimate privacy, from the books we read to our bill of fare. It is unfortunate that even democracies are not exempt from this dangerous tendency, which, if persisted in, can terminate only either in angry revulsion or, what is worse, in the enslavement of a whole nation. It's interesting. Yeah, page is 302 to 304. It's ethics chapter. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. This was Jamie's. He doesn't like pullovers, so I claimed it. It is nice. I like it. It has a big hoodie. Much love, health, and peace, all. Always. Any questions, comments, or concerns, we are here. Cheers. Yes, I will post that. That was a John Campbell interview, actually. I apologize, I don't remember her name. I believe she's a doctor from the UK. I will post the interview. We've posted it before, but I'll post it again. You're welcome. Thank you.